that for the years we've done this. But what's your head count? How many people are taking meals? Is it up, down?
We have about 70 to 75 people on the program. We've just recently lost a few due to nursing home placements and a death and things. We service about 60 to 65 people every day.
Okay, because I assume as people drop off, there's more of us get on, isn't there? I mean,
It's a revolving door.
Okay.
Some people one person just recently notified us they're leaving tomorrow. They're leaving August 1st for a month to go visit a family member,
Okay.
and they'll be back in September. And so we're willing. People can drop on and off. I mean, even you, if you had a knee replacement and you needed food, we would deliver to you. Maybe it'd only be for 2 weeks. We would deliver to you for those 2 weeks.
Okay.
So we'll take anybody. There's no restrictions. It's just $3.50 a meal. And then we have a sack supper for $1.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any further questions for Linda? Meals on Wheels. Hearing none. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Who wants to be next?
Hello, I'm Kathy Groenhagen from Serenity Hospice and Home. We're located in Oregon, Illinois, but Ogle County is our main service territory, but Lee County is our second largest service territory. In 2022, we served 83 hospice patients. We had 172 individuals on our palliative care program, and we have 11 palliative care patients and 172 people on our bereavement program. And that's what we're here to request for, is there are items services we provide that are unfunded through our per diem payment model. Those include our bereavement program and our integrative therapies. And integrative therapies, we've really, I don't want to say beefed up the program, but we've added a lot of services with our integrative therapies. We started out with massage, but we have aromatherapy. We now have a music therapy program. We have art therapy. We have pet therapy. We have virtual reality therapy. We have so many services that we provide not only to the patient, but to the family members and the bereaved to help them find comfort in one of the worst things that they're going to go through in their life. All of these programs that we have are truly unfunded and not paid for by Medicare, Medicaid, or the private insurances. Another thing that we have done to help these programs and get extra revenue is we opened a new Angel Treasures resale shop here in Dixon. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see it. We're very excited. That's our third resale shop. I know it sounds very strange, but it's a great fundraiser. And it's a great way it also acts as part of our bereavement program. Someone loses their loved one and they have all these items that they just don't know what to do with. So they turn around, they donate them to us, and we provide an outlet for those materials that helps us raise money. So Dixon is, we're very happy to be here and be part of the Dixon community. We appreciate everything you guys have done for us throughout the years. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Questions?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, you do a great job. And one problem I do have is with what's it, Angel?
Angel Treasures?
Angel Treasures. We drop stuff off and then my family is buying it back, so I don't know how to.
Well,
Reconcile
I want to
that.
say thank you. Thank you very much for your support.
I'm buying everything twice. I don't know how this works. I do have one question on your form.
Yeah.
And again, doing a great job. So don't take this as criticism. I'm just curious. It's a curiosity question.
Right.
On the reserve funds.
Yes.
What is that? What's that used for?
Our reserve funds actually it's fantastic that we've finally been able to build some. We have an education endowment, which provides, our foundation is responsible for not only the buildings that we own and the trucks and equipment, and they own our ambulance and everything. But they're also responsible for the education of our staff. So we have now set up an education endowment, which allows anybody like a CNA who wants to go on to nursing school. We help provide tuition and education reimbursements. We have recently just had an RN that went on to get our nurse practitioners. So we help, or the plan is to help subsidize that. So these reserves funds are for perpetuity of the building and perpetuity of our staff.
Okay, so you have a budget for those reserve funds, then you
Yes.
an itemized certain like maintenance and different things then.
Yes.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yes,
So
you can come
the-
to our new roof.
Let's see, what was it? Oh, you said that you served the northwest 9 counties. Have you gone to do you go to the other counties and request funds from them as well as?
We've have stayed with Ogle and Lee County, but we are looking into the other areas. We have a new marketing and fundraising, fund development coordinator, and Hannah Warren is now working with us to increase our exposure in the other counties. We go to the Lee and Ogle County United Way and the Lee and Ogle County Services, Senior Services, and we have a grant from the 708 board in Ogle County that also helps with our bereavement program. So.
Very good, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Serenity Hospice? All right, very good. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to the board. Yeah, I know, but I thought we did a couple here and we'll do one off of sort of like Jeopardy, Tom. You gotta go to the daily double. So let's see, Mr. Hughes from Lifescape.
I just noticed I misspelled the name of my organization in my thing here, so I apologize. An extra R in there. So, I apologize. Does everybody hear me okay?
Well, you're kind of in and out, Mike.
Okay, I'm going to do my best here with the technology that we have.
Okay.
So we're at Lifescape Community Services. We do a host of things in Lee County. I'll talk to you about the things we've done. We're asking funding for the senior volunteer program. We run that program for senior citizens in Lee County. We also are the health and wellness program. We do education for seniors in Lee County. We're not asking funding for either one of those programs. We are asking funding for our home delivered meals on wheels program, our Title III program through the state and federal designation. At any given year, we do 200 to 250 clients in Lee County with home delivered meals. We're also asking funding for our Adult Protective Services program. That is a program that investigates and case manages adult domestic abuse. And it's Adult Protective Services. It used to be called elder abuse, but they added adult disabled. But 95% of all of our clients in 4 counties we do that for is seniors. So most of our clients are seniors. Some of them are adult disabled. I've been in front of the county board many times. You've always been very generous with helping us, and we think we're pretty good stewards of the taxpayers' money. So one thing I will tell you that both of the programs we're asking for funding for are growing exponentially. The need for our services is growing almost on a day-by-day basis. The reason we need funding for both of those, first of all, Adult Protective Services, we don't get paid unless we open an investigation in Adult Protective Services. So if we don't have an investigation, we have no seed money to pay for our investigators and our social workers and those types of things. So we need some seed money. We need money in the bank in order to keep that program going. For home delivered meals or Meals on Wheels, we have matching funds requirements. It's at 15% of all the money that we get. We have to match those funds through local sources. So we do that in a variety of different ways. United Ways, which we do United Ways funding, and also things like the senior tax levy. There was a question earlier about so we serve a little bit in 9 counties in Northern Illinois. We also get funding through Ogle County, and we also get funding through Whiteside County through their senior tax levy. So we've been here many, many times. That's who we are in Lifescape. We've been doing this for quite some time. So I'll entertain any questions anybody might have.
Very good, Mike. Thank you. Appreciate it. Do we have questions for Mike?
Yeah, just one, I just had a little difficulty hearing what you said about the number of seniors serviced in Lee County. What was that number?
So it fluctuates because there are times when we have somebody, we can say we serve around 150, 200 meals a day in Lee County, but sometimes, people don't come in constantly. So we're around 250 individual clients per year because sometimes they're on Meals on Wheels, sometimes they're not. Like, they move or they pass away or they don't want our service. So in a given year, we serve 200 to 250 clients in Lee County.
Can you average that out a little? That's during the years, so.
Yeah, I mean, so on a day when we go to Lee County, we probably deliver about 185 meals in Lee County a day.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mike? Okay, Mike, as you know the drill, what we do is we go through all the projects and all the requests, and then we circle back and determine how much we're going to allocate for the senior services. So you're more than welcome to hang out, but if you need to be somewhere else, appreciate you coming tonight.
No, we appreciate you very much. Thank you so much.
You bet. Okay.
Hi, my name is Lou Ann Meyer, and I'm the interim director of Rock River Hospice in Sterling. We serve Lee and Whiteside counties are our two primary counties, and we also have Ogle and Bureau as other counties that we serve. We are here tonight asking for money for our bereavement program. And just like Serenity Hospice, it's an unfunded mandate that we have to provide bereavement services. In our area, we are looking to expand bereavement programs for children and grief counseling for children, as well as expanding our community presence. So what happens is not only our patients that have passed and their families, we have a bereavement program for them. But if there is a member of the community that has passed, we are there for them. So there was a social worker that passed recently, and so we did some support and offered things for the people that worked with that person. Our bereavement program is a required component, does not covered by any of the insurances, Medicare, Medicaid. And I am very sorry, I had some numbers for you, but I had to go out on a death call before I got here. And so those numbers are still back in my office because it took me longer than I thought it was going to take me.
Excuse me. No, we understand. Tom, do you have a question?
I do for both of you, I guess, on hospice.
Okay.
What you do is amazing to me and how you do it. And I know there's a need for both units. But how does a family decide which hospice to use, or how do you, I'm just curious how the dynamics of that works. I hope my family never needs it. I love to drive by the Oregon facility and not see cars there. I tell my wife, thank God there's not somebody in terrible need. And I'd love to have you all be empty. Okay. But I'm just curious how that works. And is the hospital involved in that, or?
So sometimes it's the hospital, sometimes it's families, sometimes it's long-term care facilities, and sometimes it's each other. We work.
Okay.
And they decide which hospice is maybe closest to them, or if they've had experience with that hospice in the past, or just depending on their needs. If we have somebody that needs to come to inpatient and our inpatient units are full, we would send them to Serenity, and they do the same.
And I think the best part of that whole story is that you work together. And we know you do an amazing job. I just was curious. I recently heard a friend of mine was in the hospital. they had them on hospice, and I thought, okay, how do they decide who it is that's going to see them?
A lot of the physicians help and
Yep.
give
Okay,
recommendations too.
And then when you're in a hospital, they will provide, like, here's the list of hospices that we know are in the area, and let them pick from that, then ask the staff for, which ones do you prefer, or which
so for a person to be put on hospice,
they're terminally ill with a
cost-
life expectancy of 6 months or less. If the
Okay.
disease follows its,
and any cost to
course.
that family is the same in either facility?
It has
Basically.
gotten, yes, but it's gotten much more complicated.
Yes.
I understand, okay, that's
Yeah,
fine, but
yeah,
It depends on your Medicare, Medicaid, and your private insurances. The Medicaid contractual obligation or contractual, the new
Rules and
policies.
guidelines.
I mean, it's a
have-
terrible time for a family, but actually then it does benefit them to check with both to see where they're best to go.
No, it's actually
Okay.
probably not going to matter which
Right.
one they use,
Okay,
but the cost is going to depend on what kind of coverage they have.
and I'm sorry, that doesn't have anything to do with your,
No, but
No,
like
no, no, no.
Medicare
Donations,
is
but it's
gonna
just
cover
information.
it pretty much the same either place.
okay.
Yeah.
But I do love to hear the part that you guys work together, because that's just amazing to me. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
Any other questions from the committee? Thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate it, and thank you for what you guys do. Yep. All right, back to the board. Catholic Social Services. Julie, would you like to take it away?
Great. Thank you for having us. I hope you can hear okay, our volume and everything's okay.
No, you're wonderful. You look great.
Great. Well, I heard Mike's and I'm thinking,
Both
oh
of
no,
you.
I hope we don't have the same kind of struggles that he was having. So thanks for entertaining us tonight. And I just want to do a brief, real quick overview. I think a lot of you know of our program and are familiar with it. The Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, we're the designated advocates and the only advocates for the adults that are living in long-term care facilities in Lee County, but also we cover the 9 northwestern counties, as many of the other programs do as well. So our services are designated through the Older Americans Act, and they're at no charge to the residents or to anyone for the services that we receive. Really the pillars of our program is that everything we do is directed by the residents, and it's also confidential. So any referrals we receive, any information we receive, or conversations that we have, they're also held confidentially unless we can share that information. So through the work that we do, we really advocate for the highest level of independence for residents to accomplish. Many times that includes doing discharge planning with them so that they can transition back out into the community if they're there for a short-term or a long-term stay. We often work with the other community support services that are here. We interact with hospice providers. We are often working with APS, Mike Hughes's program too, when we deal with some more in-depth situations like financial exploitations that take place between the community and long-term care. So before I forget, with me tonight is the community ombudsman for Lee County. His name's Brody Hooker, and I wanted him to join me tonight so he could be introduced to all of you as well. And you can see the face of our program that is spending a lot of time in Lee County in the facilities. So currently there's 13 facilities in Lee County with 449 beds. You did have one facility close since we met last year, and that was an ICFDD or an intermediate care facility for the developmentally disabled. And it was New Maine Group Home in Dixon, and they had 16 beds, and they did close down in January. We did assist with that closure as well, making sure that the residents had proper placement with that closure. So one thing I did want to mention, as well as our annual services plan this year, our state initiative was addressing improper involuntary discharges that are taking place in the homes. So part of that is giving the residents and their families education on the proper discharge process and attending those discharge planning meetings to make sure that they are getting connected to the community support services that they need, that whenever they transition from long-term care back into the community, that it's done in a safe and appropriate way where they can be successful once they go back out into the community. We promote dignity and respect and care, whether it's short-term or long-term, and are really the residents' advocate to make sure that their voice is being heard, that their goals are being acknowledged, and all of the supports, whether it's inside long-term care in the community, are recognizing that and they're supporting them and helping achieve their goal. Many times it's to discharge back out into the community. So we're there to support them through that path. So I thought Brody could just speak to you real briefly. I know everyone's on a time schedule, just about his visits in Lee County, so you can hear from him kind of what he's experiencing.
That would be great. Love to hear from him.
All
Brody,
right,
go
thank
ahead.
you.
Hi.
All right, thank you, board members. Yeah, so I go to Lee County pretty frequently, and most of the homes that we go to that I visit in Lee County are actually ICFDDs, but the homes that I'm in the most frequently are the skilled nursing homes. So there's 3 of them that I go to, and I've gotten to know those residents pretty well in the time that I've been visiting Lee County, which has been right around a year. And I mean, one thing that's pretty consistent is residents will always prefer to be home rather than in long-term care. So, you know, whenever that does come up, you know, we try and work with the staff, and, you know, occasionally outside agencies with families to see if it is possible, what we need to do to get that in motion. And if it's not possible, then, you know, make sure that the home is doing their due diligence, you know, and exhausting all of those options before we just issue the blanket, no, they can't go home.
So that's kind of our program in a nutshell. We'd love to have questions if you have any, or to clear anything up that maybe need to be cleared. So.
Okay, very good. Does the committee have any questions? Boy, you guys did such a good job. They don't have any questions for you.
Appreciate the job you do.
Thank you very
thank you.
much. And we're so thankful for the past support and just the opportunity to request support going forward. The support really allows our program to spend more time in Lee County. And it's something that is needed, and we want to perform that. So thank you for your consideration.
You bet. Thank you for being with us tonight. And nice meeting you, Brody. All right. The one I would like to mention, and I think that's all that's here this evening. One thing that I would mention is that Susan Lawford of Lee County Council of Aging did contact us. Susan's having some health issues, specifically hearing, and she didn't want to come tonight because she didn't think she would be able to hear questions if any. So the information we have for her, so if you go scroll up to the first request, and her request is, she's been 69.5 for the last 3 years, and she's asked for a request to 72,000 every year, and she didn't change that this year. So at the $72,000 request for this year. And then we don't have anybody else from Amboy, Pawpaw, or Ashton.
I will just point out that Ashton is as you can see, if you're looking at the Excel spreadsheet, a new request this year.
Right. I wish they were here. All right.
They all knew the expectation to be here, right, Becky? Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions as far as any of the other requests? I know we had some questions in regards to Ashton.
Yeah, I just want to probably point out on their request, so their projected annual budget's 130,000, their revenue is 157,366, and their projected expenses are 123,200, which expenses are less than budgeted and revenues are greater than budgeted also. So as you said, I wish they were here. I'd like to ask that question. Why are we requesting $10,000 when by their own numbers, it doesn't appear that there's a need? So just put that out there as a comment.
Yep, I saw the same thing.
Can I share a couple questions Nancy's got?
Yes, go ahead, Tom.
These are from Nancy. Papa, are there additional activities, services added to justify the request increase? If not, what will the increase be used toward? And on Amboy's community building, description of services, money being used, what the money is being used towards was not listed. I know in the past, I think they've talked about meals and activities, but
I don't know, my question would be for the Council on Aging, the 72,000 for transportation. And that would just be along the lines of, I thought it seems duplicative relative to like the lots that's available in the county. I mean, I'm sure that there's maybe an explanation there, but that would be one of my instincts would be like to ask about potential duplication there between the services.
So there's a little bit, there's history there, and I hear a chuckle back here from Paul, but that has to do, so there's cooperation between the lots and Lee County Council of Aging, and I'm not an expert on this at all, Mike, but has to do with the Lee County Council of Aging was actually part of getting lots going. That was kind of Arlen's push was to create this overall entity. And it's one of those things that have taken some time. And I think Wendy, isn't there an end date when they're going to seed vehicles and drivers, or how was that? I think there was a timeline.
I think you're right, but I don't know the end date. And I was going to suggest maybe I can summarize some of these questions and ship them off to Susan via email. I mean, I think email is a good form of communication with her with the hearing issue.
Right.
And maybe we can kind of get to the bottom of the question, because I think it's a valid question. I think there is an end date. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, and I don't either. And this goes back to a meeting that we had with Susan like 2 or 3 years ago. And as we were talking about moving lots to their own district, but I think there was a merge of vehicles that took place. And I'm.
You probably know more than I do, because I don't think I was at that meeting, but yes, that sounds logical.
And that was, Kevin Carr was involved in that, and so anyway, but revisiting that topic, I think is a valid point, Mike. Because that was a big driver of their expenses, was, running the buses and having the drivers and all that kind of.
Well, yeah, it's about 62% of the total ask for social services. When you add, I mean,
Sure.
some of these others we can talk about, but to me, that's the lion's share of it.
Well, typically what we've done is have a motion come out of this committee, out of this session in regards to how we're going to fund. If you look back in the history, 115, we've actually cut back a slight amount. Last year's funding request, as Becky reminded me, was that we funded basically everybody flat last year with the option of the organizations going and requesting going through the ARPA process. That's really not an option anymore because we've internalized basically all the ARPA funds that were remaining. So I guess what we could do is we can go through each one and make a tentative recommendation for each request, and we'll see what we come up with.
Unless you want to delay the vote on this since.
Well, if there's questions, I think, and good point, Tom, and if there's questions like for Lee County Council on Aging and Ashton, we put those, Wendy can email those questions to.
I wrote down both of those for Ashton and Lee County Council on Aging. There was also a comment made about
On Pawpaw.
Pawpaw.
Right,
So should
and
I-
on Amboy.
And
And Amboy, yes, and Ashton, yes.
I don't want
Ashton.
to, in the past, at one point, Pawpaw told us it wasn't worth driving up here for $1,000 to come to the meeting. Now, I don't want to pass that judgment on who the mayor is now based on who was mayor then, but when you can't at least get on Zoom and meet with us, I have a problem, I guess, that they're not that interested enough. It's just a comment. I'm not, but
Right, well, I don't disagree, Tom.
but since Nancy had questions, I guess I'd like to defer the vote until she could be here if we can. And if she at least had questions.
Okay,
she's
she's
going to want to weigh in at some point if that's possible.
Sure.
And I will say, if I can just give you a little heads up,
Yep.
we took this meeting as a heads up, or as, take it into consideration. Last year, we did not vote specifically on funding within this meeting.
Okay.
Okay, just as on top of the fact that you've got some questions that you need to have answered first, we did not come to a conclusion on funding last year during this meeting.
Oh, I thought we did. Well, I thought we had, well, we didn't do I thought we had a recommendation. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
But we're going to have multiple meetings yet on the budget, so we could delay this till.
Correct.
Well,
Get some answers to
to-
questions. We've got the committee here and.
Yeah, so what we could do, because we've got, Nancy will be back with us on Thursday. I don't know about Lyrum.
Give them a chance.
You give them a chance anyway. That's right.
Yeah, I think this is part of a broader discussion,
Yeah.
no matter what it is, that I'm not prepared to
Okay.
approve anything right now. I think we need to look at everything.
I don't disagree with that, with the,
Yeah, I always look forward to more meetings about meetings.
yeah,
Thank you.
you got to love the government process, don't you, Mike?
Oh, yes.
Plan the meetings. We already have the meeting.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so are there any other further questions that we need to have Wendy send out to any of the requesters or applicants?
I've got Lee County Council on Aging, Ashton, Pawpaw, specific to the increase,
And Amboy.
and Amboy. And Amboy did not increase, but they also didn't provide what they were going to do with it. So the
No.
question is, what are they going to do with it?
Right.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
And we ask her if she has a question.
Yeah, do you have any questions for us as far as,
No, I was just making sure you didn't have any more for me.
okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, if that's it, I
So-
don't, oh,
So on the agenda, it says funding allocation breakdown and motion to fund. So I'm just going to put the committee had several questions from several organizations and we'll make a determination at a later budget meeting, correct?
yeah, we'll defer making a recommendation until a later date,
Gotcha.
probably Thursday.
Do you want me to put, is that part of the, probably Thursday?
I don't know if we want to put that down, Beck, but we'll try to make that happen.
Well, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be sitting in a budget hearing all morning, so give me a little time to get those questions out to people too. Just saying. Just saying.
All right. Yeah, as a reminder, 9 o'clock in the morning, we'll be starting off with, or did we get the courts folks?
Yep, courts folks are all on board, even public defender, so they'll be here in the morning, first thing. And then at 11 o'clock, you've got, I believe it's Kathy Ferguson from the Health Department is coming over, and that's your two biggies for tomorrow.
Yep. And then we have the negotiating committee has a session. Well, we did, yeah.
I did schedule it. I did, because I had to schedule something with Dave Anderson and Clay. So Dave's coming in first at 11:30. We did talk about, and we can do that in the morning.
So we're going to do Kathy pretty quick.
Right. And honestly, she can be, I honestly think, I don't know that the court system will take the whole 2 hours we've got allocated. So I think we're going to be all right.
Okay.
I can even text her to come early if she wants to. But yeah, 11:30 is technically when I told Dave Anderson to be here, just to be ready. We can order lunch in for your negotiating team, Tim. We'll wing that tomorrow and plow through lunch. And then 1 o'clock is when I told Clay. Again, he may be here for the whole time anyway, so it won't matter, but that's just, if I had to give him a target to shoot at, I figured 1 o'clock.
Okay. All right. There's our marching orders. Busy day tomorrow, busy day Thursday, and the rest of the month. So here we go. All right. Well, if there's nothing else good for the cause, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Bivens, second by Kitson. All those in favor signify by saying